Blue Oolong episode 9, where we are back in the present day / future. And we, to remind everybody, had just pulled off that job where you met a contact, from Straylight, who will be, I have it written down here, might jog some memories for everybody. It would be Glimmer is the person that you met with and swayed over to your side. You had procured some jet fuel, the thing that they needed because they run airships. And then you, I believe, at least one of you rolled a quit, maybe two. So it ended very well for you all, and your status increased with Straylight. And Jim Crocker, who was playing Butterfly, is pretty much hitched with Glimmer, is what we saw in the epilogue. They were like kind of living together, and like Butterfly was just riding around in Glimmer's cars all the time and shit. So things are good, and we'll like fast forward to like a week after that job or something, when Locke, who has pulled a job 20 years in the past with this crew, not particularly with these members of the crew, but in sort of the foundational days of the crew forming, Locke has been there and pulled off a big job, which was extracting a bunch of data from a corporate compound. And Locke, you're like a hacker or something, right? Do you want to talk about your character a little bit?
Yeah, I am. I do. Yeah, I did. No, I didn't do a hacker. I did a. I've got my sheet says Edge.
Oh yeah, right.
So,
You messed up those guards in the compound. I remember that.
Yep.
You took on the both, and didn't you crit that too? There's a lot of crits going around.
Yeah, as we were going in, yeah, I messed with the cooling equipment on the way in.
Right. Yeah. Those crits are going around. So yeah, the Blue Oolong, for your information, is a front of these people. Let's check out the crew sheet. What options did they take? It is, they have their own vehicle. It's hidden, so people don't know about this front. They just know of the business dealings, right? Not that the gang operates out of this place. It has its own sleeping quarters. It is secure. It has its own vault. It has a workshop. So they've been working hard. And everybody in the crew has wired rigging, which means one carried item is concealed and has no load. And everyone is branded, so everyone has a tattoo. Did we go over that before, Victor?
No.
Everybody in the crew has like a ink tattoo, which their hand is blue, because the name is Blue Solus, but it's only something that you can trigger when you're sort of doing like underworld business. It's sort of like your gang's tales of your own gang. Otherwise, it just looks like normal skin. You don't walk around with blue hands all the time, or a blue hand all the time. And yeah, you guys are synchronized. So you count multiple sixes as crits. What else? You've got the good stuff here. So their drug is Sunshine, a hallucinogen that triggers an pleasant experience of like sunshine. It's basically like, it's almost like they're getting a sense memory from a time before the like climate change effects of now, where the sun is so bright that it'll like burn you and stuff like that. It's a hallucinogenic drug for sure. But it's a good thing. Ostensibly, we haven't really seen the side effects of it because it hasn't been that long since they've developed this one, and it's such good quality that we didn't really see the bottom of the barrel because they started out with the good stuff, if I remember correctly. But because of that brand as well, the blue hand thing, you can add an extra action dot in command, consort, or sway on your sheet. Team photo of the Blue Man Group. Yeah. Yeah. You guys would be pretty creepy if that were true. Robbing banks as the Blue Man Group and stuff. Yeah. And what else do you need to know? Yeah, crew's name is Blue Solace. Their reputation is daring, hard, and clandestine. The tea shop is called the Blue Oolong, hence the name of the series. And they are tier 1 week hold with 3 coin in the crew sheet. And that's about it. And I'm pretty sure the previous job was just a score that you guys were all angling towards because, if I recall correctly, Silver has some thing that Jesse is working towards at a meta level, and Straylight was like a stepping stone to that. I think it was only part of their plan, which was like something about taking on Nourish or something like that, right? Like their rival works at Nourish, and our Jesse has been slowly working towards getting reprisals on this person. So maybe after that job, though, Silver took on other work or something like that. They're not in this episode. It's like a week later. And yeah, Locke has managed to take some solace in the Blue Solace gang. Yeah, helping you all out with Silver gone, and who's the other person who's gone? Well, Quiz. I think Brian is going to be back in a bit, but it's a rotating cast of folks basically here since the Gauntlet's running an open table, and we've had kind of a weird month for drop in and drop outs. So let's go to downtime. And do you guys want to have that scene of Locke showing up, or should we just hand wave it and get it in, or what? Yeah, Lauren, you said you wanted that scene?
Yeah, I'm totally fine with having, because I would recognize Locke, right? Or be somewhat familiar with.
Yeah, at like a meta level, we know that Vidi is sort of the like orchestrator of this team. At a player level, all the players just think Vidi's like another like character operative with them and stuff, right? But we've had multiple flashbacks where Vidi is sort of puppeteering everybody in this group to do things, which makes sense because you're like the spider playbook of Hack the Planet, right? You're like all about those inner machinations. So yeah, how do you think you make contact with them, Locke?
I was gonna say, what am I making contact with them for at the moment? I mean,
Well, if we
what
use
sounds like a good like fit.
Well, we could say since you have all the stuff, like the stress and all of that stuff from the previous job, we could use that as sort of the fictional positioning of you having just pulled off another job, and now you need like a place to stay or whatever you think is interesting, really. Like if you just moved back to Shelter 1, or you know there's too much heat on you and you need another crew to stay with, anything you think would be interesting.
I would think he's probably gotten maybe gotten himself noticed or something and needs to kind of hide, or at least find a way to divert attention.
And so, do you have like a specific old way that you would contact the crew or anything, or do you just go to the tea house directly, or what?
I would think Locke would probably just go there directly. He's not really. He's a simple guy.
He's straightforward.
Yeah, yeah,
Cool.
pretty much. Keep it easy.
Cool. Yeah, then I like the idea Lauren has in there of like maybe we see like the opening shot of the episode is like Locke, who we've seen in the past, aged up a little bit in the future, right?
Right.
Looking around like on a street corner and like since they're tier 1 now, they have like a couple crew members, like gang members, little bumpkins, right? And maybe some of them are like stapling biodegradable smart paper ads for like blue oolong on there. And you're like, oh yeah, I could just trouble these people with my problems.
Yeah,
And
my,
yeah,
my problems are our problems.
yeah, we're all a crew. I made this crew what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think because we had said that like you guys got paid quite a bit for the past job, and I think we're sort of doing it where Silver kind of used that money to start bankrolling the crew around then or a little bit later and stuff like that, right? So you could be technically a founding member along with like whatever Vidi's story is of like pulling y'all together after that job was. Maybe we'll do another past episode at some point to explain it. But for now, we can just hand wavium it. But yeah, the streets look different, right? Like the last episode, everything was sort of like not completely constructed yet. There was scaffolding and things being built yet and stuff like that. But now the streets are more like Blade Runner-y. They're not like so new. They still have the same proportions and same dimensions and everything, but it's very much like lived in, and we see that like that the green zone has taken in more people than what they had expected, and the things that you see from that cost on the city is that it's like dirty and grimy, and like there's been extra houses built on top of other houses, and sort of the stuff that you see in futuristic Asian countries where they like have like sort of built on modules onto houses, like built up. So it looks like there's additional compartments that are actual apartments onto rows and rows and rows of tenantal buildings and stuff like that. And it's we've got that cyberpunk action where it's just kind of all like a little bit rainy, oppressive. Everything is very built to withstand acts of God, which have become more and more a fact of life. So all the cars and vehicles always park in these white or yellow white divided things, and when an act of God happens, then it starts lowering the car within the earth and stuff like that. So yeah, there's lots of police, like which are called sentinels here, wandering the place. And yeah, I use the first Blade Runner as a touchstone. It's like all packed in, and there's like a claustrophobic feeling, and there's lots of iconography to communicate what you need to know about the city, including like, you know, the walk signal and stuff, but how to get around, because not everybody can read the same language. It's like a place where all the refugees has come. So I think I even have a picture of the blue oolong somewhere, but I'm not sure where I've placed it. But from what we've described before, it looked kind of steampunky, isn't that right, Lauren and Aaron? Like the it was kind of like a tea shop with the typical wall of tons of teas and stuff like that. But then where you guys have the main counter where people come and do all that stuff, there's like all that futuristic technology and stuff, but behind you it was all like these cool steam pipey things. It looked like a future Starbucks barista thing kind of to me when I saw the picture that I can no longer find. And so you just wander straight in, Locke?
Yeah. I would think so.
Ficus, sure. Lots of ficuses. All the whatever the plural is of the ficus. All the foci, ficuses, all those kind of things happening. Yes, whatever you think. So
what does the population in this place look like? Is it
within
busy? Is it
in the actual store?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're doing fairly well, especially now that they're like a tier 1. Have you guys actually decided if you distribute drugs through this place as well, or is this an actual legitimate front? Yeah, Aaron is nodding along.
Yeah, I think we wanted it to remain a front, right? Like there was the beaded curtain where that's our base of operations, but we don't actually sell here.
We just cut the product here.
Yeah.
You don't sell on your front porch.
Correct.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So this place is actually just legit really good tea, right? And you have this side bonus of people coming in. So do people set up deals when they come in here? Like if they order a specific tea, do you like give them a cup, and in the cup or something is like go to 31st and 22nd at 8 a.m. or whatever or something, or what?
Yeah, totally. It's called like reading the leaves. So you gotta like read the leaves.
Nice. And what if they like pay for it and they can't read the leaves and they never find the drugs? It's just their fault.
Yeah, exactly.
No drugs for you. You're too stupid. Sorry. You have to pass an IQ test to use our product. So, yeah, I think it's like fairly busy. Maybe you two, just for convenience sake, are actually throwing yourselves into the work of the actual storefront instead of these multiple missions that you've been doing kind of like back to back to back, right? It's kind of like a lull in the story, and that's when, of course, in the fiction, Locke would show up and kind of like, throw a wrench in your gears, basically. So Biddy, Locke comes in and you recognize them, right? Like you've probably had a dossier on everyone who's worked in the crew before, past, present, future. Well, not future, I guess, but you know them, right? They pulled off the job that we haven't named, that one.
Yeah, she totally so when Locke comes into the tea shop, you get that glimmer of like recognition in VD's eye for the audience kind of thing. And I think she's definitely smoking a cigarette at this point. It's probably like the audience knows it's probably also cut a little bit with the drugs, but not enough to have her super high just to get a nice buzz going, because we've established that she's addicted to her own supply. And she sort of like pulls a cigarette out of her mouth enough to like talk to Locke and smiles at them and gestures toward a low table with some tea that is brewing, and asks if Locke would like to enjoy a cup of tea. They look like they've been traveling for some time and could do with a rest.
Yeah, it would definitely be worth slowing down for a minute or two.
Then please make yourself at home.
Is there any like indication that you need like a place to lay low or anything like that? Like, is there any reason for Vidi to be suspicious of you just paying a random visit to your old crew?
I would assume the crew kind of keeps tabs on what's going on, so maybe has seen that there are hints that other crews know Locke's kind of involved in something that was supposed to be pretty quiet and wasn't.
Gotcha. That makes sense, especially because what does man? I have to relearn everybody's names. J5, right? J5. You monitor all that kind of stuff. Part of the place being secure, you've already established as you like being up on the wire, basically, right? Like you've got surveillance up, and you make it your business to know, right, what's going on.
I think over time I've constructed and it fits with this sort of evolution of our group, which is that over time, as this place has grown more secure and we've grown more protective of the space, I envision what used to be just like sitting at a computer with a security camera now is like one of those like a chair in the Millennium Falcon that sort of like moves up and down 360 degrees, and there's like video monitors everywhere. But there's only one door, so it's completely unnecessary. There's like 2 cameras, but I've just constructed this really awesome security system for a single door.
So you've got like all the video for those 2 cameras, and then all the feeds on the data that's related to anything tangential to what goes past those.
Yeah, I think like maybe there's, maybe we've planted like tracers on somebody, or like maybe I'm watching game shows on another TV, or like learning about how to read the leaves, like how to like construct a language out of leaves. I don't know. It's like all sorts of crazy stuff that's completely unnecessary. That's the tone of my character.
Yeah. Pedantic, unnecessary, complex. Good times.
You will come up with a plan, and then I will tell you that there's a better way to do that plan, which involves 42 steps, all of which involve us potentially dying. So
At times, it always becomes bold and daring, at least.
Sounds kind of the opposite of Locke.
it's kind of the opposite of everybody. So
Well, Locke's got like a plan, and it usually works. Usually, if it doesn't, then we hit the nail a little harder. That's all.
sounds great.
A little harder, yeah.
I think you and I, as human beings, will be friends. I think our characters will probably not be.
There we go.
Mm-hmm. Sweet. Okay, so you're somewhat integrated. Let's go to downtime actions. Aaron, do you want to start with J5?
I was gonna say,
Victor, you have something?
You want to give me maybe a quick overview of downtime, because we didn't do any of that in the last one.
Yeah, so downtime is you'll have on your sheet, what page? Page 2 of the HTTP playtest bundle downtime. You can basically think of downtime as like the stuff that happens after the score that is safe, where like your character de-stresses, they do like the partying after the job, or they work on their own stuff, and it's meant to be a sort of like time passes between each score. And so you can acquire an asset, which is like something that you might need for the next job that you're planning. Especially if it's a higher tier than you, generally you'll acquire an asset to be able to bring their tier in equalization with you. Start a long-term project or work on a long-term project, which is an abstraction of literally anything that you want to work towards in the fiction. You can recover if you've been hurt, so start treatment. You can reduce heat, which is you doing like subterfuge or any way that you want to do it. You can reduce the heat that you get from the score. in pretty much any way that you can think of, as long as it's plausible within the fiction. You can train, and that's just marking XP in one of those tracks for insight, prowess, resolve, or playbook. And you can indulge your vice, which is how you de-stress in this game. And so whatever your vice is, you're going to indulge in that, partake in it. But there's a chance that you might overindulge potentially if you have a role that goes beyond it. And then that causes problems for you. So it'd be like the gambler who gets really drunk or whatever and, loses money or talks too much, brags, and increases your heat and various things like that. If it ends up that you overindulge, you choose what happens there as well. So downtime, if you think of it in like mouse guard terms, this is your guys' turn before going back to the GM's turn, which is not really that true in this one either, because it's all free play is sort of a shared responsibility, just like the rest of the game. But yeah. So, yeah.
Well, de-stressing sounds like a really good idea.
Yeah, how stressed are you?
I've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ticks.
Yeah, so it's pretty much a foolproof plan. Because even if you roll a 6, you won't overindulge, right? So, what is your vice, though?
Gambling.
Cool. And is it like a traditional thing?
Or
is it something weird, futuristic? Channel your Cyberpunk 2020 character after those jobs that you did, Victor. What did you guys do?
I don't remember what all we did. We got beat up really bad. Right at the end, we got beat pretty hard.
Is it just like you go to a seedy hole or something like that and do crabs, or do you go to like a bigger kind of like casino place and rub elbows with people and you're like a good poker player or something like that? Or what do we see in down?
I don't think it's anything traditional. I think it's probably something. He probably goes into places that are kind of above his station, for one. Kind of, you wouldn't see somebody of his level of sophistication show up in places like that. But it's also gambling on all sorts of weird things. It's just nothing like games of chance or anything like that. It's like gambling on like some weird
like when you could gamble on like when acts of God are gonna strike the city or something like that. That would be something that people would do for sure.
Or the number of people who are gonna die in a situation like that, or
okay.
I mean, just weird stuff. It's like, why would you even bet on something like that? It's like,
yeah, I like that too, because it fits with cyberpunk, right? Like where everything has been commodified, like down to esoteric little events like that, where they're just like
and the really slow days, it's like, how many people are going to go down this stupid street here and not get mugged?
Yeah, well, we gotta gamble.
It's just gotta find something to spend money on.
Cool. Maybe the place that you go to is called Les Miserables. Cool. Okay, so on your sheet, there's a button that says Indulge Your Vice, and if you click that, it'll do it for you.
Oh, you're making it too easy. Oh.
I know, right?
Okay. Do that. So the options are bonus dice, nothing, right?
Yeah, you could push yourself, but it doesn't make sense in this particular case to do it. Sometimes if you only had like 3 stress, you might push yourself in order to take 2 stress to put you in a better position so you don't overindulge, but you have 6 already, so you're safe no matter what you get.
Okay.
So 5, there you go. You only have 1 stress left. It was a good one. What did you bet on this time?
Um,
It was so satisfying.
um, I don't know. I think it's probably some whether some legislation was going to go through on allowing some government relocation programs to go forward and just place a bunch of people.
Nice.
I like
Did it happen or did it not happen?
I think my cynic is yes, it's going to happen, and yep, I was right.
Oh, nice.
They're displacing people. It may not have gone through exactly the way they had planned, but yeah, people are getting moved, shuffled around.
Sweet. Well, that's nice and depressing.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so Aaron, do you have a downtime you want to do?
We get 2 downtimes. Is that correct?
Yeah, everyone will get 2, but we'll do 1 and then 1.
Okay. Then my first will also be to reduce stress, and indulge vice. Right. That's what reduces stress.
Yes.
And
It's only been a couple of weeks, Aaron. Okay. You're like, when is this game again?
I know. And I have the book, and I'm trying to learn, but I'm a very like narrative and not. This is crunchier than I'm used to. The first game I ever played was Dungeon World, so it's, anyway. Sorry. So my vice is that I have an obligation to satisfy my parents' luxury.
Right.
And I think last session we came up with some kind of way of moving across communities into the White District, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, somebody had hacked it. I think you did.
I think I did it as well.
Yeah.
And so I think the way that I indulge my vice is to hack my parents and get them across the border, which is a super fucking risky thing because they're not a part of this and have no idea. Like they still think that I'm like making it as a as a child actor. Yeah. So that's what I want to do.
Risque. Cool. Yeah. Let's see how satisfying that is. You're lucky that it's a downtime action too. Clever.
Dice, right?
Clever girl gif. What?
No bonus dice, right? That's not a thing.
You can push yourself if you would like, but since it's technically your stress, yeah. So you get rid of 4. What are you at now?
I was at 5.
Oh. You guys are all keeping a little bit of stress though. Tensions are, well, I wouldn't say high, but tensions are there because Locke is there.
Yeah, I think J5 is a little bit still uncertain about Locke. I think he's gonna follow VD's lead.
Do you want to introduce your character a little bit to Victor too? Like, what do we see on screen and any pertinent details?
Sure. First, hi Victor, I'm Aaron. Second, my character is named J5, and as I suggested, he is he's the Torque play sheet and is working himself into, it was like a tinkerer, and is working himself into something of a hacker too. His backstory is that he was a former child star whose parents still live in this like luxurious life that he has to perpetuate, and they think that he's doing it through legitimate means, and it's the drug trade that has brought him all this money. So I also think that he thinks that he is or at least was for a while, the leader of the group, and it didn't go well. He wasn't a very good leader, and I think that's when VD came along. VD like sort of not came along; she was always there, but like sort of took over, and we still haven't explored that part of that relationship. But that's what I know about J5.
Cool. And Lauren, do you want to do the same thing for VD and then do your downtime?
Yeah, sure. So as was alluded to, Vidi was like an NPC kind of background character who stepped in and became more of a PC after a particularly it was a bad run. Some people died. It wasn't great. And she has since tried to establish more connections with say like the Sentinels and other people around the place to really build up this drug empire that she has going on since she I think like used to have a really good shop, but then it sort of got crushed and stuff by some of the other crews around, and so she sort of had to build her way back up from nothing in this place. I've described her as what did I describe her as? Let's put it up. Her look is like a contradictory mix of kind and mean as hell. So she is super sweet and will put out tea and stuff for everyone, but then is super cutthroat and calculating at the same time. She is now, as I said, addicted to sunshine. And is now obsessed with trying to procure more of it and ensuring that they never run out of it, because she was very terrified of the day that they run out of sunshine. And has made a lot of like interesting choices. Like the last score we did was in pursuit of that fear, because we're actually okay. We're doing okay for like drugs and stuff. But yes, she's feeling very paranoid about running out of product. I think that's kind of her thing. Yeah.
Her thing is fear of less drugs.
Yeah.
Cool. So what's your first downtime action?
Good question.
And what does Vidi look like too?
Oh yeah, Vidi, it's like an I think older Asian lady. I don't think we established exactly what her who she is or what she is, but the picture I've whacked in there is pretty much Kindly Chang if you've played the Shadowrun games. Very like high tight bun. Always like smoking a cigarette. I think quite unassuming in her tea shop. People tend to overlook her.
Cool. And downtime?
Oh yeah. I kind of feel like I was trying to think back to exactly why we wanted to track down Straylight, and I think part of it was they can get active God information and stuff, right? Which is very pertinent to Vidi's interests, since we use acts of God to make our drugs. So I think my downtime action wants to be along the lines of like becoming better friends with someone in Straylight. I don't know if they can be Glimmer, just because like we kidnapped Glimmer, and then Glimmer was like not super happy with being kidnapped. I don't know why, but like she would be upset about that.
No. Glimmer's like a positive contact for you guys after that score.
Okay, cool.
That's what that score was about. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, so you have +3 status with them, and you have a contact in Glimmer now.
Oh, never mind. But I think one of my downtime actions would be like to leverage that contact to figure out where the next act of God is taking place.
Okay. I don't think you'll need to do that as a like that could just be a free play action that you could do, right? I don't think you'd need to waste downtime on that.
Okay.
Do you have like heat or
do we have heat?
Do you have heat, or do you have things that you want to train in, or a long-term project, or if your plan is to if your plan is to go after an act of God this session, which I think would be kind of cool because we haven't done that since the first session too, and Victor hasn't seen that before, so that might be cool. You could acquire an asset to help you with that as well if you're going after like a big one or whatever, right? Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, that sounds good. I think we have no hate because we're.
Oh, yeah,
At least it sounds like
you crit that last time, I think.
We have no hate. I'm not super stressed out. I'm loving life right now. Like I could just go take a nap from one of my downtime actions.
Well, you could
action is that
you could acquire an asset and train up for this job or whatever, right?
Yeah. I think acquiring an asset that's good.
Yeah, cool. And yeah, so to do that, you would roll your cruise tier actually, which is on the
cool.
cruise sheet. And what you're looking for is if you roll a 4 or a 5, you get standard, your tier. And if you roll a 6, you get fine. And crit is exceptional, tier +2. And then we define this asset when you go on the job, right? Like it is like your items, it becomes whatever the thing is that you need, essentially.
Perfect.
It becomes the thing.
I got a 3.
A 3. So a 3 is inferior quality, tier -1. However, you can always in downtime spend jewels, the money in this, to increase your result level. So if you wanted something that was fine, you could spend 2 jewels and it would be tier +1. So it'd be something better than what you have now. And it just keeps going like that. So it depends how much money you want to spend.
And I can spend that from my personal supply?
Yeah, from whatever. You could do it from the cruise sheet or your own, depending on, if you tell people that you're using the cruise money or not. Could be fun either way.
No, I can just do it for my own personal.
Okay, and how much did you want to spend?
I'll spend 2. I think Vidi would spend 2. I think this is feeling like a obsession where she'd do that.
Right, yeah. This is all about your need to get some more product just in case it ends, right?
Yeah,
cool.
Exactly.
Okay. And then let's take a quick 5-minute break, come back, do the rest of downtime, hatch a plan, and do it. Okay?
Awesome.
Okay, so come back at 05, let's say. Okay? Yo!
You gave me a fright.
I saw that. Definitely didn't try to do that.
No, of course not.
Yeah. How's hanging out with Alex going?
I was good. I said goodbye to her yesterday. She took
Oh, she's gone already?
28. Yeah, she was just here for the weekend. She took 28 kilograms of my crap back to New Zealand, which I'm
wow,
very
that's a
thankful
lot.
for. Yeah, it was mostly.
So like books?
It was some books. I think a lot of it was shoes. And what else? Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be that much, and then we got to the airport and waited, and she was like, it was 28 kgs. Oh my god.
That's a lot, yeah. Well, that's good then. It turns out that she was right? It was probably better than you shipping it for sure, right?
Yeah,
At least
exactly.
it would be in Canada.
And I mean, oh yeah.
Canada is like I tried shipping the veil to Europe and they quoted me like $40 and it's like a kilogram. Not even, I think.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was just like, are you on the crack? Canada's the worst now. Postal service.
Yeah, I haven't. I feel like Australia is the same. I know it's for sure the same when I shipped stuff back from the States to New Zealand. I think it was like I did one box of stuff and it ended up being like $200. I was like, ugh, I should have just like gotten another suitcase or something for that much.
Or just got a seat, just got like a seat next to you and be like, this seat is my box.
Yeah. This is my unaccompanied minor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sweet. Now, what is this AOG info?
I was trying to delete it and then I show it to everyone instead of delete.
Nice. Okay.
So I don't think I need that one anymore.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that is full. Okay, so Victor, do you want to do your second downtime action?
Let's see, what do I want to do for a second downtime action? I have no idea on like assets or long-term projects type stuff.
Yeah, assets are generally like when you're working towards a specific goal, but generally people use them as flashbacks during a job. They'll do a downtime action during a job, usually paying the jewel to do one, and then have whatever they need to have on the job for whatever it is that they're trying to pull off. But you can do it the same way as what Lauren did, is just get a nebulous thing that will be of use in the future for the job that you want to do in the future. And and it seems like, I'm not sure what J5's plan is, but it seems like Lauren's plan, VD, is to go after another act of God ASAP to get the more raw materials for when they take on a specific act of God. They can take some of the raw materials to change it into the drug that they make and make money on. So, and VD is kind of like a, pack a day habit now or something like that. So she needs that good stuff replenished, even though it has not depleted just yet. So but there's always train. Train is always a good option if you can't think of anything else, because on your guys' crew, let me just check what you have marked off. Insight, prowess, and resolve, all three of those. If you train, you actually get 2 XP instead of the normal 1 for that action. So if you've been allocating your XP to any of those and you're pretty close, like 2 away, that is always a good option.
Yeah. I don't think I put any Oh yeah, I remember. I've got the XP down on in the Mark XP section, and I hadn't like divvied anything anywhere.
Oh, okay. So there you go.
Now, did those get transferred on a 1-to-1, or are those how do those move or are used?
Let me look at your sheet. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. Let's see. You have them. Oh, you have them in the playbook advancement.
Yeah, that's
So
where I put them because I didn't know what to do with them.
yeah, so you could leave them there, and when it's full, then you get a new special ability, or you can
Oh.
transfer them 1-to-1 to resolve prowess insight and work towards another dot in any of those subcategories within them.
Okay.
And then when you train insight, prowess, or resolve for this action, you can mark another 2. So if you moved all of those to insight, prowess, or resolve, and then trained in any of them, you would get another action dot.
Okay.
Unless you want to work towards
No,
another special ability.
I was gonna say let's do that for now.
Sure.
I'm gonna throw them on prowess instead.
Okay. And then if you so what do we see in the downtime scene of you training your prowess? What does it look like?
I think I think he probably goes and does some maybe some I don't know, some physical kind of training around town. I'm not sure.
You start doing some parkour.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything structured like a gym type thing. It's a let's improvise and kind of go that way. And
so just just using like the pack streets as a obstacle course to get around.
Yeah, kind of
And
one of those yeah, like the typical training montage scene where yeah.
Okay, Rocky, you've got it. So
Yeah.
so with that training you can mark 2 to fill up your quota for prowess.
Okay.
Delete them all and then add a dot in any of them that you would like.
I'm thinking I want to throw it there.
Cool. And then there you go.
Put it on prowl.
Cool. And then VD, second downtime of 3 for your character, right? Because you have a special ability that gives you another one.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
I think I would like to I think I want to train prowess. Yeah, I think I always want Biddy to hit the gym a bit harder because she's not super. Like she needs to be a bit physically fitter if she's gonna go on all of these runs to get the product that she needs to make these drugs. Because she's very good at talking to people, but I think she runs quite short of breath every now and then when they're trying to like chase down people and stuff. Which I think we saw a bit of when we last tried to. Yes. She's also jacked up because she's probably bench pressing cars and stuff. Definitely. So I think I want a one-time scene of her like picking up cars and things like that to train some prowess.
Okay. So 2 XP. And then, do you want to do your last one as well then? And then we'll go to J5.
Yes. Yeah, I think my last one is going to be I want to work toward the playbook advancement of weaving the web.
Weaving the web, okay.
So I think that'll just like on screen that probably just looks like her consult like networking and stuff with her favorites like Hane and Glimmer and all of the people that we've got good contacts with. Salia. Yeah.
Cool. Sounds good. And J5, final downtime.
So while my parents are at like just some random dinner party in the White Zone, I am going to break off, and I'm going to try to. I'm going to solidify this long-term project that I've been dancing around, which is I don't actually have a clock for figuring out about this this obsession that I have, the obsession that I think that the government has like done something to these acts of God, and so yeah, so I want to do a long-term project.
Sounds good.
And the way I imagine that happening is I like break into a school or something like a university, and I'm trying to like steal data.
Sweet. I like that. Oh yeah. So also, Vidi, a thing that you should know is if you have trauma, you need to indulge your stress or something bad happens as well.
Oh yeah.
What was it that happens? Let me see. Long-term project. I know something happens. Vice purveyor, stress relief. I think you just take an additional stress or something like that. I don't want to dive too much into the book just to find out the answer to that, but I think just take like an additional stress for not indulging it for now, and I'll look it up next time.
I feel like I lucked out. It's probably a lot worse than that.
I don't know, like, yeah, we haven't really ever had that problem, so I can't recall it off the top of my head, but
the Aaron pulling out the book.
Okay.
Awesome. I put in a stress. This is going to be an interesting run.
You'd think it would just be in the indulging or vice section, but
you'd think.
Tisn't. Maybe it's probably like in the trauma section or something, and I'm in the downtime activity part. So.
On page 157.
Okay.
You do not or cannot indulge vice during a downtime phase. You take stress equal to your trauma.
Oh, so I was right.
You don't have it. You're free to ignore your vice. It doesn't have a hold over you yet.
So it is just one. Haha.
You're a genius.
Yeah. I am the best. Okay, cool. So back to J5. I apologize. You are hacking a school?
I'm like breaking into labs and stuff. I'm like trying to steal supplies. Like I imagine it like a photo montage where I'm in some chemistry lab and I'm like pulling like giant gallons off of a thing and putting them in a shopping cart that I brought, and like, you know, ammonia nitrate and like, you know, that kind of stuff.
Ammonia nitrate. Oh, it's crazy.
Oh, hey guys.
It gives people jazz hands. Okay, cool. And did you roll for that already?
Do I roll for that? And if so, what do I roll?
Yeah, so you would tell me what you roll for it. It's a long-term project, you said, right?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So what action do you think that is?
Uh,
Are you trying to do it on the DL?
Do I have any friends?
I don't know. Do you?
I mean, in the game.
Yeah, I know. Still, do you?
No, it doesn't look like it. Maybe I can go to Sanvi, a scavenger,
Sure.
and maybe he's able to help me. Maybe he's able to help me with my prowl, because I think this is kind of a prowl. Or I don't know if I recall correctly from our first session. Lauren's first character was from the academy, right? Wasn't she a teacher or something, or wasn't she a scientist?
Yeah, I think it was some kind of academy, like postgraduate student.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe she's around.
Well, mechanically, to get the die, it has to be somebody like that is actually someone that you consider a friend and is on your sheet. So, like, if you wanted to, you could always do this with Locke, right? Like a bonding activity or something like that.
Locke's interested.
Yeah, I like the idea of Locke like sleeping and J5 all like wired after, not turning down the blue light filter at the evening time, coming to Locke and being like, yo, want to help me out? Shh, we're going to go do something.
Yeah.
Okay, so do I roll? Is that a prowl then?
Well, it depends if you consider Locke a friend already, because it's actually subjective to your character, and two, if Locke actually does it. So
I don't think I consider Locke a friend yet.
Oh, well, then it's pointless. But maybe they could come with you anyway.
Yeah, narratively speaking, I think I like that. I like that.
With the entertainment.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll become friends after this escapade.
Yeah.
But I do think I still want to tap Sanvi, because I think he would know where the stuff is. Maybe he's the one who tipped me off. Like, if you go to this kind of lab, they're going to have these materials, and that's going to get you the stuff that you need.
Right. And then, like, I picture you guys, being quiet and sneaking out at a crazy hour or something, and we get a shot of you like going past VD's room, and you think VD's sleeping, but we see like one eye open, right? Like all knowing. Sweet. Okay, so yeah, roll it up. Let's see how much progress you make on this. Okay, so a 4 means that you get 2 ticks.
So if I did, so I just rolled that. I don't have any ticks in prowl. Do I get the extra die from Sanvi, or?
Yeah, you get the extra die from Sanvi.
Okay, so then I actually don't know how to interpret that then.
Well, it would be we would take normally what would happen is, instead of you rolling 2 die and taking the lowest, it would have rolled 1 die.
Got it.
And you would have just had 1 result instead of taking the lowest. But you rolled 2 anyway, and both are the same result. So it's kind of whatever. So you would get 2 ticks towards it. And what is the overall mechanical benefit for the end of this clock again?
I think the goal is to have like, I don't know, because it's tied into the obsession, it will never end. But I think like the immediate goal is confirmation, information about the government doing something with these acts of God. And so maybe that gives us leverage, or gives us some kind of tier advantage as a group, because we'll have that kind of leverage on who are the guys, the flickers maybe, or I guess they're not government, but they're
not government, but so you want leverage on a corporation though, or like the corporate council or something like that with this?
Yeah.
Okay, so Let's do a 6-segment clock. You've put 2 towards it, and yeah, you've started with your thieving ways on it. Next time you can do a different thing and work towards it.
So one of my special abilities is Shrewd, which says during downtime I get 2 ticks to distribute among any long-term project clocks that involve investigation or learning a new design plan. Can I also add that here?
Sure, yeah, that's totally towards it. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So what do you think that is then? How do you get more ticks on it?
I think that's when so that's afterwards. I've got all these chemicals and I'm, still trying to like parse the science of the windsock that we use to capture the act of God. And I think I'm taking this. Maybe I'm taking this to a CD laboratory, or maybe I'm taking this to, maybe it's in the back room of the Blue Oolong where I'm like mixing stuff with various teas in order to see like the chemical reaction to these biological components and that kind of stuff. And yeah, I'm just running crazy experiments.
Cool. Okay, sounds good. Sounds like you're gonna run out of tea too, Viti. What are you gonna do then? No tea, no drugs. It's all going to hell.
Just chop up the ficus and we'll use that as tea.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that seems legit. Cool. So, does anyone else have any? You can spend 1 jewel to do an additional downtime activity, or also remember that you get an additional downtime activity when you go towards your sales territory thing. Which one did you choose? I think it was supply. Let's see. Did you choose one? Is it ever written down?
I feel like it was sales, but I don't.
Doesn't look like it's written down.
I believe sales is our thing.
Oh yeah, we've got.
Oh yeah.
Sale? Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So if you are ever planning a score that revolves around sale, you get an additional downtime activity, and that is towards gathering information for that score. So it doesn't sound like you are focused on a sale at the moment, though, right? Is Viti going to try to pitch to the people that you guys should hack another act of God, or what's the plan?
Yeah. I think she does pitch to them. It's time to hunt down an act of God. It's been some time since I've been out there and gotten some raw materials and make our product. And would be prudent if we gathered some more so we can refine it and sell it off for an even bigger whack of jewels this time around. Since we should be proud of what we've done. We've got some good stuff here.
Oh, also, I've forgotten as well that you can also give me a tier roll to see how much your Vice Den gives you for jewels. First time ever.
Oh yeah.
Acquired it recently.
Oh, yeah.
And so what that states, now that you have it, is it's a tier roll minus your heat, which is nothing, equals jewels in downtime. And it's just like abstracting your make. Oh, let's 6. Of course, Viti kills it in downtime. So there you go. 6 minus nothing is 6. So you have a vault, which is good. You could put some in there, but everyone could take some as well if you want to do it that way. Maybe everyone gets 2.
I think Viti. If Viti is proposing that we do this heist to get more stuff, I think that cash goes toward that event.
Okay, well, for now I'll just put it in the vault then. It won't fit though, all of it. So because the vault only holds 4 and you have 3 coins there still, so I can only put 5 in there.
I'll take it. I mean,
yeah. Well, how about I'll put.
we can keep them there until the end of the session, right? And then we can decide where that.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so I'll put it all in the vault, and you're 1 over for now. So if you want to flash back during this job to spend some more or anything like that, then just take it out of that crew part then. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. You can continue pitching your job to your fellow peoples.
Well, I think this just further cements the fact that we should take this endeavor seriously and that we've got a real enterprise on our hands here. And we don't want to be caught in a situation where we don't have the product that is clearly in such high demand.
I think J5 is like, he's like salivating at this idea. Like, this is where like crazy schemes, acts of God are just ripe for crazy schemes. And so he's already like, he's already working on a whiteboard and drawing schematics and stuff like this. And then he's looking over at Locke and be like, what can this guy do again? Okay. And then he like carry the 1 and yeah. So he doesn't say a word. He's just like working. He's just hatching plans.
And I think Locke's just kind of standing there looking at it, scratching his head, thinking, and he probably thinks out loud, why is it gotta be so complex? So you just do this and this and that and done.
I think I'm like waving you off, but at one point, like I draw a stick figure of you like shooting something. So like, yeah.
Yes, that right there. See, done.
And then I circle it and put a line through it. Like I've considered your plan, but like that's too simple.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So is everybody on board with hacking an act of God?
Sure.
Yeah. And so what, well, we can do gather information for that kind of stuff, but what type of plan do you think you want to do that will inform what kind of gather information you'll need to do in order to do it? So your options are assault, point of attack, so you just attack one. Deception, deceiving it in some way, which is kind of what they did the first part, which is they like had a tricky plan in which they lured it into like a reservoir where we're sucking up water, and then they didn't kill the whole storm. They just like took like kind of clipped off a portion of it and sucked it into this windsock looking device that like stored it, and the rest of the storm just like passed unabated. Stealth would just be like an entry point, how to get to it. Social, I don't see how you would do that with an act of God, but it's on the table, I guess. Transport, and then act of God is just a plan that details some sort of specialized tech that Aaron seems to like that one. A specialized piece of tech that is the thing that is the crux of the whole plan, essentially.
Is this the social? Would that not be like a good example of how we might use our connection to Straylight? Or is that not how that works?
A social plan would be like, this is what you'll be doing on the job, right? So a social connection would mean the whole job was about convincing Straylight to give you that information. And I think you would be able to just gather information using your contacts from Straylight in order to inform a different plan. That makes more sense.
Is an act of God an organic entity that can be reasoned with?
I don't think so. Like, I guess it from a scientific point, like maybe a little bit, right? Because you could kind of predict it and use specific technology to like change the outcome of what it's doing and stuff, right? But as in turn, it's like not sentient, right?
Okay. Just asking.
Yeah. Okay. If you want to start a long-term project to try to find a sentient one, that might be a thing. But for now, in the fiction,
I'll write that down.
but basically, the way we should choose a plan is just the funnest thing that you want to do, right? And then the thing that you need, point of attack, method of deception, entry point, etc., will be the thing that you gather information for, and then we'll do the heist. So, do people want to attack an act of God? Do you want to deceive one in some way? Do you want to sneak like an entry point, like bust through one to get at the, I don't know, the good stuff of it or something? Or is it all about like getting a specific device that will enable you to do whatever it is that you need to do?
I like the idea of doing some kind of specialized tech, not because it's a J5 plan, but because that kind of thing, I think, lends itself well to the 3 very, very different kinds of character sheets we have right now, right? We have the tech, we have the edge, we have the spider-ish character. I think like acquiring, making, and implementing a specialized tech might like draw on all 3 of those.
Sure. So, well, the thing to know about that too is that you always can have specialized tech on a job, right? It's part of your normal equipment. So you could do an assault plan in which you use specialized tech that you detail in order to, kill it or whatever it is that you are planning on doing to it.
Okay.
Specialized tech just means that the whole job will be about implementing this specialized tech on it, versus point of attack is the point of the job is that you're attacking it with specialized tech in your items. So
it's coming down to what you want the focus of the situation to be.
Yeah, the funnest thing, basically. What's the fun? Where's the fun for you? What do people want to see on screen?
Give me a good description of what these acts of God are.
Any kind of environmental disaster is classified as an act of God, and think of them as like a radicalized form of them. So like, hurricanes, and let's see, what page is it on for the quick
start? Kind of an amped up version of what a normal storm would be.
Yeah, exactly. And then cyberize it, right? Like,
or whatever.
Yeah, so for instance, when I'm crafting them on page 4 of the quick start, there's a D6 that I can roll on to see what it is. And it's like sinkholes, avalanches, landslides, sandstorm, thunderstorm, tornadoes, volcanic eruptions, droughts, solar flares, tsunamis, that kind of stuff. So sometimes
how you attack something like that
with specialized tech.
I suppose.
Yeah, that's why there's an item that's just like the thing that you need. Yeah, and in the future update coming as well, the plan specialized tech will be revised to something else, because Kira McGran is doing the crew that is sort of like the cyber witches, and in Blades of the Dark, AOG plans are the arcane one, where it's just like you detail an arcane power thing that you're dealing with, and she's sort of doing the cyberpunk allegory of that. So right now that plan is sort of just like a weird nebulous catch-all thing for if all those other ones don't make sense and you want to do something weird, basically.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, what are people thinking? Do you want to normally I think what I would do for an act of God plan is like roll, get its tier, randomize it and stuff like that. But since it's the finale, I think we should just like make the fiction what everybody thinks would be cool and drive towards that. So if people wanted to hit like a thunderstorm or a tornado or a sandstorm or whatever, we'll just make the act of God that. And then I'll roll to get its magnitude, and you guys can prepare for that, basically. Especially since you've got 6 more jewels, Viddy. You can pretty much match whatever you would need with that. So, in terms of a bankroll, it was a good thing I remembered that, I guess. So, what do people feel like doing? What do people feel like seeing in the fiction, essentially, with this act of God stuff? Last time it was a tornado, right? That you kind of like wrangled. You like use this device to rip the tornado in half and then like suck up the like mini tornado thing, right? So
I think I kind of want to see Locke in action as like a test of character.
nice. That's good.
So maybe some kind of assault or a specialized tech that involves an assault, right? That's what that character sheet does.
Yeah. And the way I kind of look at things is maybe size up a thing and then physically deal with it. Locke's a very kind of brute force-ish type. Yeah, that kind of thing. So something that would kind of fit that would be fine. Or however.
Yeah. And so you said that we're going to select based on what we want to do. We're going to select the kind of act of God.
Yeah, you guys can choose what kind of act of God you're catching on to or wanting to target. Because it's the finale, we'll just make it cool. Well, finale for you anyway, Aaron.
Yeah, I want to see some crazy J5 plans. For sure.
Victor, are you in the coming weeks one?
No.
Oh, there you go. So 2 of you, let's try to hit on both of you.
Try to kill both of you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, this I think strikes me as like VD trying to get rid of some loose ends, maybe. In which case,
nice.
maybe trying to like steer us into a particularly dangerous situation, like letting J5 get away with some crazy plan.
I'll definitely retcon it that way if it goes terribly wrong.
Yeah, when Silver comes back, you're like, what? Well, I mean,
J5,
J5.
too close to the sun.
All right. Well, let's do some kind of specialized tech that involves like physically wrangling a storm of some sort. Maybe it's water is at a premium, right? But there is still an ocean because there are people that live far away. So maybe there's like a flood or a tsunami or something that we need to. I guess you can't physically wrangle a tsunami. Never mind.
Well, it could be a cyclonic storm that, and then there's like that's the thing that you need to wrangle. But on the peripheral, there's the stuff that you're talking about with the flooding and all that kind of stuff happening.
Maybe there's what if there's like an earthquake that we can predict and we need to like get down into the fault line to capture some kind of like escaped gas, like fracking style.
Sure.
Okay.
Sounds cool.
So this thing's going to happen, and we know there's some that whatever resource you want is going to be available at the opportune moment.
Right.
Gotcha.
Cool. Yes.
We need to do it fast, and it's going to be like this physically demanding like thing to like get down there. Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Let's get this open. All right. Three. So it's going to be tier. I rolled 3, so it's going to be a tier 3. It'll last a few hours, and it's the size of several rooms. Is your the fault line, I guess, that you need to get into.
The size of several what?
Several rooms.
Oh,
So it's a pretty big hole.
yeah. Maybe it's like a sinkhole that opens up, but like Princess Bride style, we have to like dive down into a.
Princess Bride style. Yeah. Loosely based on Cyberpunk. Yeah. Cool. So just be aware, though, with a tier 3 thing, it's 2 tiers above you, right? So you'll have limited effect on it without the specialized tech. But thankfully, VD has already acquired some asset that is 1 tier above. And if you want to spend 1 more, then that asset could be on par with it. So I could just, and then you would be, and then that asset, whatever it may be, will be on par with it, and you won't have to get rid of any excess jewels for the stuff in the vault. Is that good?
That works for me.
Cool.
VD's
So cool. Yeah, we'll just sort of modify that original acquire asset thing to bump that roll up 1 more to where you need it to be. And cool. And is this an assault plan then, it sounds like?
Yeah, sure.
Like, are you attacking it, or is it a deception with this method of it being what you're describing? Like, is the deception getting at this stuff through this like hole in the ground? Or is this stealth and that's the entry point?
I can go either way. I mean, doesn't matter to me.
Sure. Well, so when you imagine this fault line, is it a point of attack? Like that's where it's exposed, you're going in and you're like fighting the act of God through this space? Or is this like your way into it that you wouldn't have found otherwise and it's stealth? I think it would be one of those probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say it's probably a waiting for the opportune moment and getting in.
Yeah.
Kind of.
So this will be the engagement role. That means is like we see how well you get into this place, and then from there it probably turns into the assault stuff, right? Where you're like messing it up and attempting to, you know, get at the center of it where all that stuff is that VD needs, right? And then just so you know, Victor, mechanically, once I essentially craft this act of God as an obstacle, like just like with the corporation, and once you've circumvented it, there is a move that everybody has on the crew sheet that is the mechanical justification for what you're about to do to the act of God. It's called chasing the storm. You have devised a method to extract acts of God into a raw form you can convert into an illicit substance. Take 3 stress to use this method after an act of God is surmounted as an obstacle. And so you can distribute the stress among you. One of you could take all of the stress, but it's sort of like the final denouement moment after you've circumvented it.
Cool.
So I'm going to make a 4 o'clock and another clock. Because I'm guessing I'm going to need some clocks on this one. Okay, so tier 3, you only have, I'm going to use, oh, and Vidi, you didn't indulge your habit, so I'm increasing your habit clock by 2 as well. And remember when that
I think he's liking this.
yeah. So what happens with that though is that if it ever reaches the full thing, then it turns into a smaller clock, right? And then when it turns into and so I keep having to, it's just tracking like your addiction to the drug. So when it becomes smaller and you don't indulge it, then we start talking about the consequences of that because you're hooked on your drug. And so yes, cool. How does anyone want to do some gathering information before we cut to the scene of you guys doing your engagement role against this act of God? You already have the asset that you will need to have for the fictional positioning of like quote unquote attacking this thing. But specifically when you're breaching it, I'll go over the engagement role so that everybody remembers what you're kind of planning for to get the most out of your role here. So, oops. You're looking to be bold and daring. That gives you a D. If it's complex or contingent J5, it's minus 1D. Does the plan's detail expose a vulnerability of the target? Plus 1D. Does it have particular defenses or special preparations? Minus 1D. Can friends or contacts help you out? Plus 1D. Enemies or rival interfering? Minus 1D. And other elements may lower it, which, for example, is the tier. So you know that you'll have at least -1 for it being a 2-tier higher than you thing. So with those things in mind, does anyone want to gather information before you basically jump into a sinkhole trying to navigate to the center of an act of God as it's happening when it only lasts a couple hours to get at this nebulous thing that you need to extract and get out of?
I would think it's probably a good idea to find out exactly what kind of window we're facing here on getting in and getting back out.
Sure. Okay.
Always a
So,
good idea.
how is it that you do that? Do you have any contacts or something that you can hit up?
Now, now when you're talking contacts, that's just anybody, or is that the friend that I've got on mine? Because that's just a weapons
Yeah.
person, which doesn't really fit, but
Yeah, well, your crew contact is Tiago, who's a flicker, which is basically a
Okay.
private investigator. That might
Okay.
be a thing. Otherwise, maybe
so
somebody
an
else.
acquirer of information
Yeah,
if we need.
I could definitely see you guys also hitting up Stray Light, right? The people that can. They're basically the faction that can predict acts of God and stuff, and probably how you got this information in the first place. So if somebody wants to network with them or something like that to get that window and more information, that would be a wise thing to do.
I mean, I can network that.
Yeah. And is number one Locke going with you too? If so, are they your friend? Because that would give you a bonus die.
I like to think that Locke is my friend. Perhaps Locke doesn't. I don't know. Does it need to be? I guess this doesn't need to be like a mutual two-way thing, right?
No, it's just how you think of Locke. It doesn't have to be a mutual thing.
Yes. No, I definitely think of Locke as a friend. They're very familiar to me.
Yeah, because you've been reading up on them.
Mhm.
Cool. Okay. So yeah, we just get like a scene of you talking to Glimmer, and we'll say that how you got the rest of the information I've told you is just through the freely available information that she gave you, and now we'll see if you get any more information out of her, and you can ask me questions with gather information. Okay.
Awesome.
Cool. Hit me with the network. Crit, of course. Oh, baby.
I knew that was happening before I even rolled it.
Okay, well, cool. So what do you want to know? You know everything, basically, I guess. Ask me some questions, and you get a follow-up question and an additional benefit that you can divide some.
Oh my gosh, did you have burning questions, Locke?
I think the biggest thing I'm concerned with is how long do we have to do this? And probably what's the maximum we can get out of it in that period of time.
Like the amount of stuff that you can extract or something?
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Okay, so...
Seeing as that's kind of our goal, I guess.
Right. So this clock up here is going to be the time that you have. And it's going to be, they say like it's going to be a couple of hours. But I guess it depends on what kind of added benefit you get from it. But I could see them, like, especially since they're +3 with you and would want to help if asked, maybe their role in this is to, like, elongate that even longer, something like that. So that if I take a consequence of moving the time up when you guys are doing rolls, then maybe they'll soak some of that damage for you or something like that. That would make sense. But as is, it'll be like a couple hours, so it's like a pretty tight operation. And follow-up questions? Oh, and in terms of what you'll be able to get out of it, I think it'll be the equivalent of like a big job, like 10 joules. Which is pretty good. The last time you guys did it, I think it was something similar, right? The first time. So it'd be like the same amount of haul that you have for supplying the porters with your drug, right? With your sunshine. Oh, okay, so more than if the first time was 8, then yeah, it'll be like a little bit bigger of a haul. Any other questions? Follow-up questions?
Does J5 have any questions they want to ask that may pertain to any of their crazy plans they want to execute?
Yeah. Anything daring and bold?
Yeah. Okay. Here's what I got here.
Yes.
Remember, you wanna be daring and bold to get your D, and also expose vulnerability. Right?
Okay. So I think that what we're looking for here, the way that this sinkhole or this fault line like provides us with the chemical that we need to make the good stuff, it's in the rocks, and the rocks themselves have to be pounded down, like turned into a dust, and like run through some kind of process. If we try to like cart a whole bunch of stone out, we're going to be, we're limited in how much we're going to get. But if we do that work inside the sinkhole, we can get as much stuff as possible, and maybe like increase the amount of product that we get, increase the amount of wealth that we get from the process. So I think the daring and bold thing is to bring essentially bring a pop tent along, and bringing like a pop tent along that we can like try to conduct this process while the earthquake is going on.
Okay, so yeah, so you want to be, and so what is your question then?
So I'm saying, so that's the plan. So the question is, how do we like speed up the process of purifying, or like destroying these stones and purifying it, so that we can get as much out as possible? And if we're asking Straylight this, like this is where they get their, is it their gasoline, their whatever the jet fuel is for their planes, right?
Yeah.
I feel like they've probably undergone a process similar to this, or have at least made it more efficient than something that we've come up with.
Right. Okay. And so you want to learn what the process is, or is this like, can I have the thing that you have?
Ooh, if there's a specialized tech, I'll take your specialized tech.
I'll take it. So the question is, can I have it? Because it's the finale, I guess we'll say yes. Normally, I think it would be an acquire asset roll instead from them to use it, because acquire assets are technically only things that you can use like once or twice. It's like a transitory thing, right?
Well, let's do.
Yeah, you still have an asset, but yeah. So do you just? I guess we could classify that thing as the thing that you need, but I thought the
So maybe
asset.
maybe the question's more of how can we get that asset down in there to do the thing we need to do, get it and the supply out in one piece.
Okay.
Does that sound like more of a fit for your question?
Yeah. So maybe oh yeah, so I think she says what they use is they've adapted some climbing gear so that when you go down in the hole, you basically have these like carabiners that attach outside of it. And every time that you get a thing done, you essentially like snap on that rope and it pulls it back up for you, right? So you're like doing the work as it's going.
Nice.
And it's also probably your best means of like egress yourself, right? So yeah, they've pretty much got it down to like a science now, right? This is their thing that they do. Is that cool?
Sounds good. So it's kind of a modular thing. We go down kind of in with the whole thing, and as we get done with certain portions, decouple it and send it up, and then do the next bit, send it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you're going into like a sinkhole pocket though. So the things that you're probably going to be combating, Locke, are like those like gas bubbles and stuff like that that are coming at the group and stuff, right? So you'll probably need to use the specific specialized tech for combating something like that.
Gotcha.
So you'll be cutting something other than human flesh this episode.
We need
Any
to have
other?
somebody to
What?
help us, like protect. If we're like sending stuff up to the surface, do we need to hire somebody to like protect the stuff at the surface?
I don't think so. We can just say that the rest of the gang is doing that, right?
Okay.
Yeah, like the off-screen NPCs are
Yeah,
doing that. Also, I doubt that people are hanging around when this is happening. Like most people are probably like, "Oh fuck, go home, go to the shelter," right? You guys are like, "Let's go in." So, I don't think you have too much worrying about that happening.
Okay.
If Silver was here, I would definitely make they pissed off somebody named Ebba, and I'd be like, guess who shows up? But they're not there, and I don't want to use the big bad before Silver is here. So you're just lucky, Aaron.
Nice.
So any other questions? Okay, and then we'll say the additional benefit is that you have. So you need an asset that will match them for messing stuff up, right? Like attacking stuff at your own scale, probably. And then stuff that will actually get you into the thing. So maybe what they give you is just for your additional effect is that you have two acquired assets that are nebulous at that scale instead of one. Is that good? Cool. And then that'll be their +3 faction status being like, it's your first time. Here you go. Go, my pretties, fly. Cool. So let's cut to the engagement roll if everybody is good with that. Aaron, do you want to start the roll for that? So you start off with 1d for sheer luck, because y'all are cyberpunk scoundrels, right?
Sorry, where do I do the engagement roll? That's not in the character sheet, right? That's
Crew sheet.
crew sheet. Roll engagement. All right. Number of dice.
Yeah, so right now we're at 1 for sheer luck. Is this operation particularly bold or daring? Seems like it, right? That was how, basically your question was, how do we make this bold and daring? So, yes. You're basically, yeah, you've found out when the sinkhole is coming in, opening, and then navigating to the heart of the act of God, which is happening above ground, but you're going to like the heart of it below ground, right?
Right.
Cool. Yeah, that is definitely bolder daring then, I think. Maybe a little crazy. Does the plan's detail expose a vulnerability or hit them where they're weakest? Yes, you're going underground to the heart of them. Is it complex, or is the target strongest against this approach, or do they have particular defenses? I don't know. I'm torn on this because they have. It's harder to hit them here, but it is also their vulnerability, right? Like there's these the gas pockets and all these things that are happening are contingent on what is happening above the surface as it navigates through the city and what it hits and stuff like that, right? So yeah, we'll say that removes a D, but then your friends and contacts provided 8 already, so that gives you the die back. Enemies and rivals interfering? No, because Silver's not here, or Ebba would be up in this. And are there any elements? Yes, it is 2 tiers above you, so you get 2 dice.
Does that put us at 6?
No, it puts you at 2.
Oh, it puts us at 2.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I see. Oh dear.
A little mini crit. So that means you're in a risky position instead of controlled because you didn't get a 6 for once in your lives. And
I don't get the 6s. Vidi gets the 6s. That's why she's in charge and I am not.
Yeah, it's weird that I asked you to roll engagement. Cool. And so this is an entry point thing. You're in a risky position. Cool. So what did you want the act of God to be again? It was like a tsunami happening above, but it opened up a sinkhole that allowed you to navigate to the heart of it, like whatever is creating it, or what?
I think it was an earthquake that created some kind of...
Oh, it's an earthquake. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So we'll say like every act of God the city has countermeasures against. So maybe that's why it's a limited amount of time. Maybe when an earthquake happens, the city automatically has something like a rocket or something like that launches and shoots for the center to disperse these like chemicals that negates the earthquake or whatever, right? If the whole city was susceptible to earthquakes, this whole thing would not be a real thing. So they definitely have some countermeasure against it, and when that's deployed, that's the end for y'all.
They send some explosive foam that fills it up.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, there you go. So the earthquake is just kind of like, oh, dang. I tried so hard, but in the end, I didn't make it. Sweet. Okay, so the earthquake happens, and I guess we get a shot of Locke's place of business as people or not place of business, but gambling den, right? Where everybody's betting on how long it's going to last.
Oh, yeah.
Before we cut to y'all. So what's the plan? Is it like are you all just kind of waiting just outside of a particular district or city? Like, I'm imagining it must be hitting probably outside of the city and is trying to spread to the city, but then gets counteracted, right? So do we just get a shot of you guys in like this kind of like arid desert area with like a watch counting down, waiting for this thing to open up?
Yeah. pretty much, and we're like, I can see Locke's probably just leaning on this equipment we're going to use, and our planner here is going over the equipment left and right, making sure everything's like set.
A planner. That's a nice way of putting it.
Planner, organizer.
So mark your load, and if you've used any items, then you can replenish them. They reset every downtime. I think it probably, there's no reason not to go heavy in this job because you're outside of the city and they're not going to care if you're like, there's no reason for sentinels and other forces to be like, hey, get out of that hole or whatever, right? Like they don't care, and it's outside of the shelter one anyway. So if you take heavy load 6, that would be probably good.
That works for me.
And so, yeah, right on time as to what Straylight has predicted. This, like, faster than you expected crevasse opens up, and it rapidly expands outward, and you're looking down into pure darkness. And you are in a risky situation. You're about to jump down into a hole. What does this look like? Do you guys have like parachutes, or is it attaching those lines like I was saying, and then just like kind of doing that climbing thing down where you're like bouncing off the side of the thing to get to the base, or what is it? What's the plan?
I think some people are probably climbing. I think J5 has one of those like has like a protective bubble that like can like form around himself. He kind of like pushes himself in.
Oh my god!
He can't climb. That's not his thing.
You got beat up in high school, J5. Bubble boy. Cool. Is anybody else bubble people, or somebody's got to be attaching the lines for the stuff to come back up, though, right?
Yeah.
I
think.
Oh yeah, go.
I think. No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say if that's just like a thing BD would do if unless that is in Locke's area of speciality.
Cool. And so I guess mark light climbing gear probably for everybody, right? I'm assuming that is a thing that you'll be doing. And so is this a group action to get down here safely? Is everybody doing this? Sounds like it, hey?
I think so.
Cool. And I'll make a clock of 4, which is navigate to the heart. So, cool. What action do you guys think you're all participating in to get to navigate, down into this hole and stuff? Do you think you're ghosting there? Is it all about like athletics? Is it something that takes finesse? Is it could be tracing, like I think too. Like tracing is kind of the hunt where you're like finding the best route and taking that and stuff too. What do people think?
I'm thinking it's probably. I mean, this is an actively opening gap in the ground, so it's a matter of finding the sturdiest
Footholds
route that's not gonna like collapse on us as we're going through it.
Are we surveying then? Like looking for opportunities and exploits for a way to get through?
Is it?
I'm just asking questions that are in my interest.
Well, so for the group action, somebody's leading it and everybody else is rolling that, right? And then whoever fails causes the person stress. But yeah, everybody needs to be doing the same thing. So if it is about surveying and finding the things, then everybody's rolling survey. If it's more the physicality aspect of it, where it's an arduous situation where you're bouncing from place to place or whatever, it might be a different action. But
My guess is that Locke is leading the way. So whatever Locke says.
Relaxes.
I would say it's probably a physical thing. I mean, you can't overthink rocks. So
rocks. Yeah. Okay. So do you think
Jim
that's
Cobb hears that and he's like, this guy.
Yep.
So do you think it's ghosting then? You're like leading the way, or is it like tracing?
What's the big difference between the two?
Difference is ghosting to a location, moving silently unseen, traversing obstacles, climb, swim, run, jump, and tumble, or tracing a target, gather information about its location or movements, shooting from a distance with precision, tracking a target.
Yeah, I think it's A.
Okay, so ghost?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Sounds good.
Prepare to take some stress.
Cool. So go ahead, everybody roll that. Your position is risky.
So what am I rolling?
So you're going to be selecting ghost, which is prowl. Prowl, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Prowl. And risky situation.
Okay.
For now, it's standard effect, just getting down there.
Okay.
And then you can push yourself, take 2 stress to add an additional die, or that's about it, because everybody's doing the same action, so there's no assisting.
Now, okay. Okay.
So there's 2 failures on there already.
I'm going to go ahead and stress myself a bit here.
That sounds probably wise. There you go, 6. That's what you need, and it's the last die too. So lucky Locke. So you do take 2 stress from leading these failures down the hole, and so yeah, is it like, what does that scene look like? Is it like really physical or what?
Yeah, I think it's really physical, and they're trying to overthink it. I think it's one of those. It's like, no, you're taking too long. You put your hand here. You just do this, and I just kind of move them along as opposed to watching them move.
Sweet. Okay. And so when you get down there, obviously the light is, pretty much gone. You're down this deep, dark hole, and we still have 1 tick down to navigate to the heart of the darkness here. So I think what's happened, though, is... Oh, yeah. So the hole is opened, but in order to get to the heart of it, there's still, like, some of the residue that's fallen down the hole is, like, blocking the way. So you need to punch through that. So how will you do that? And remember that you can always mark specialized tech to say, I have a thing for that.
I think a fine heavy weapon would do something like that.
That's true. That sounds like it. And what does it look like?
I think it's a pretty beefy heavy weapon that shoots mechanical rounds, kind of just punches big holes in things.
Sweet. Okay, so it sounds like you're taking this action. And do you think you're tracing, firing a projectile?
I would say so. Tracing is
hunt, and it's trace a target, gather information about its location, shoot from a distance with precision.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nope, that works.
Cool. Okay, so I think it's still risky. I think you'll have limited effect because it's a giant thing, but mechanically we know that you only need 1 whatchamacallit. There's only 1 segment in the clock left, so you can still succeed at this action with limited effect because it will still fill in 1 segment.
And I think we'll try it without the stress.
Weird.
Well, I'm thinking, so is it better to kind of measure this? Do I need to spend the stress now to get in and do the thing, or do I need to wait and hold the stress for getting out later to survive the thing?
Yeah, so it depends on what you think. Generally, what I'm going to do is the larger clock time. I'm
Okay.
going to use that as a complication. So if you roll 4, 5, 1, 2, or 1 to 6, I'm going to fill in segments of time, and that's your like window, right? However, since it's a consequence, you can always resist that, and that's something that can cause you stress as well. So it really just kind of depends. Also,
So I could go without the stress now, but if it isn't the way I like it, I can resist it and explain how I dealt with that.
yeah, and that can cause you stress. But if you have the more dice in the thing that you're resisting with, the less likely it is you'll take a lot of stress from doing it as well. So it just kind of depends how you want to play the game.
We'll try it this way without the bonus dice up front.
Sounds good.
And see where that goes.
There you go. So it's a full success anyway. So you navigate to the heart of it. You punch through these rocks. Like the debris had landed there, and maybe like, you know, we see the exasperation from BD and J5, who are not used to doing these physical things, whereas Locke was like in their element, right? Like just kind of using the force to get down there in their element.
Yep.
And then once again, right, maybe we see like an exasperated look as it's like, oh no, it's all the debris fell exactly where we needed to go. And then Locke just pulls out this like huge ass thing that, like, I imagine the barrel is something like huge, right?
Big. Yep.
Yeah. And it just like shoots these huge bolts that just punch through. And actually it'd be cool too if it acts as like stabilizers, right? Like it punches through and then you can shoot them like horizontal or vertically.
You know what it is? It shoots these things that it looks like a steel rod that it shoots that goes into the surface, and then it expands like a tube.
Oh, cool. Oh, so it expands like a tube, so you're walking through this?
So we can go through it. Yes.
Oh, that's clever. I like that a lot. Cool. J5 Center for that, right? Some science. Like he bubble boys through, right?
We'll see if we'll see if the bubble can fit the entry through the pipe.
Yeah.
I deflated the bubble.
So
there we go.
We have 2 clocks now I'm going to be making to abstract this process. One is going to be the defenses. It's just the natural stuff that's happening down there that you need to contend with. And then the extraction process, which is going to be that obstacle. And then once you're done that, you can take 3 stress and, you know, get the thing done, right? So in terms of defenses, what you see is, so this is an earthquake, right? But I like the idea of, yeah, these like hot pockets of earth down there that are like taking on these like weird Metroid-esque floating bubble things, right? And they're filled with some sort of, you know, toxic stuff that's going to like fuck with your armor and your other devices that you're doing and stuff like that. And but you're in the heart of this stuff. So J5, why don't you tell me what it is that you need to like extract if you have something cool in mind?
So we determined that we're extracting it from the stone or from the gas.
Well, it's whatever you want. I think the gas is the defense mechanism, right? The stuff that's sort of like floating around in here that could, it's not like aiming towards you, but it's like this gaseous stuff that can like burst the bubble and it'll fuck with you and that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, I think so. Okay, so I think what so the question is, what do I need to do to gather this?
Yeah, so what is the, like, is it a giant specific colored rock on screen, or like how does the audience know like that's the shit they need?
Yeah, I think it's a yellow stone. and I think it comes out. You can see it. You can see it in like veins. So you have to sort of like cut it out, and then you have to put it in. He's like, it takes like 10 minutes to like unwrap this whole contraption, and it's like a giant like metal, like a meat grinder almost. And there's like there's a hand crank, and it functions. It's based off the same tech as the beaded curtain in the blue oolong, which sort of like dissipates, like breaks up matter, or is supposed to at least.
Yeah.
So you have to like hand crank this process, and it like sifts it down, and then it and then it shoots it in a jet into little jars, and at that point it becomes like a powder. And so the process is, so the two things that need to be done in order to make the process work are getting the stone into the the meat grinder, and then replacing the jars so that you can like keep producing as much stuff as possible.
Right. And so you're doing what they said, where like when the jar thing is full, you attach the carabiner and it just like goes shooting back
Correct.
up or whatever, right?
Right.
Cool. I like that a lot. Okay, so you've got the two obstacles. The defenses are gonna come into place, I think, narratively it makes sense that when you're doing the extraction, the defenses occur, right? So why don't we get started on the extraction, especially since J5 and VD, you haven't had a roll yet. So what is it that you guys do to extract it? Well, we know J5's already explained it, but I mean, like, what action are you doing? And is this a group action or what?
I think like I'm saying to each of us, like, go find a vein, and everybody's like finding yellow rocks.
So it's surveying?
Yes. Although maybe so we could do it this way. Like somebody's in charge of like carving it out, and somebody's in charge of carrying it, like the sort of physicality of these larger stones. If that plays better with Locke. Can't really.
Well, I think what'll happen is I'm gonna use the complications that might happen with your rolls to have in defense happening that Locke will be able to tackle.
Got it. Okay.
So, are you and VD acting together in this thing, or is one of you doing a task and the other doing a different task, and then each making your own hits to the extraction clock, essentially? It'll be like a what?
I feel like BD's helping. I think like J5 sounds like they're in their element, and they're like, that's when sort of leadership steeds from BD to J5 as J5 is like orchestrating this plan.
Okay, so you're leading a group action, J5, for the two of you, right? And then Locke is going to deal with it if a defense happens. Like right now, I think on screen, Locke is kind of like being wary and looking at these giant gas modules that are floating around and being like, fuck, right? Meanwhile, you guys are like, okay, time to get working, right?
So this is, so what am I trying to do? This is wreck.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, right? You're wrecking this yellow rock.
Oh, good.
Yellow stone wreck. You're destroying a natural resource, this PS.
You got this. You believe in yourself, Vidi.
Believe in yourself. You can ruin the environment.
All right, so
what?
This is risky?
Oh, yeah. It's risky, standard, and that's... So you're using, each of you, Locke, you have this nebulous thing that can attack these giant nodule things as an asset, and you are using the other asset to do this process. So your action is risky, standard instead of disparate, limited.
Okay.
Because of that.
And do I get a bonus die for working as a group, or?
If VD takes 1 stress to assist you with the roll, yes.
Well, I will take 1 stress to help you in this instance.
Cool.
Nice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh my god. Okay, so it's
Hello.
like 3 6s in a, or 2, 3, 4 6s in a row. Okay, so
That's because we're a good team.
so technically that means that you are almost done extracting this down. I thought I was being rough with this clock, but apparently not. So mechanically, when you get a 6, you get 3 ticks on a clock. You hit a crit, so you get an additional 2 above that on a 6 clock. So you're almost done somehow. And I don't get a complicated defense thing to do. Cool. Okay, so there's still 1 slice left to do though. So oh, and the time doesn't go up either. You guys are hoes. So yeah, Phoebe, what is it that you need to do to bring this extraction home?
Oh, what do we need to get? Do we have a way to get it out yet? I don't know if we
No,
do.
yeah, so maybe that would be a good idea.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Well, you all have the ropes on, right? But unless you want to get whipped up as fast as these bags of things, that might be interesting egress. I might get you to roll for that because that might break some bones. But
Yeah.
just bear in mind too that there's still 1 tick away from completing the extraction as well.
Awesome. What do we? I don't know. J5. What do we need to do? The extraction.
So maybe the last bit of the extraction is. So what's VD's good? What is VD good at?
I can talk to the rocks and network with the rocks.
The rock whisperer.
Yeah.
Well,
I can survey and
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Like you need to we've explored the immediate vicinity and we've gotten all the yellow veins out from this immediate vicinity, but it's not enough. Like we know what the sort of what our max capacity is, and we're about to hit it. And so you're sent out on an exploratory mission down another mission.
That's amazing.
Okay, well, I like that you guys are complicating it for yourselves. I'm into this. So is this surveying then?
Yeah, I think I'm looking for, let me pull up the verbiage, like an opportunity or something to exploit, right?
Okay, and do you have any items that will bump up your effect in this endeavor? Maybe find multi-spectrum contacts?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So click that.
We're all thinking it at the same time, and you just got it out before us.
Yeah, exactly. It's so funny, you're my brain.
Yeah. So with that, you're in a risky position with great effect.
Awesome. Feeling good about this. 1 second.
Let's see if Rolls 20 still loves you, VD.
It's command, right? That's the corresponding.
Study? I thought you were studying.
Oh my god, I totally. I forgot. My other character is good at surveying. I am terrible at surveying. V is terrible at surveying.
So what do you want to do?
Good question. Oh fuck, I'm the wrong person for this. I guess my best shot is probably to make it more of like a finesse. I do have 1 in survey, I think.
Oh, okay. That's fine then. Right?
Yeah.
It'll be fine. You just can't crit, sucker.
What did I roll?
5.
Oh, I got
That's
5.
pretty good. So that does fill it up. You find the thing that you are missing, right? You find like another vein in the earth. And when we get this shot of you like talking in your communications, I'm in my head, I'm picturing it veins of the earth type thing, or like a journey to the center of the earth, right? Or even like the core, where you're like under this thing and you're like venturing away from your pals to trace like this line, right? Like you see a silver trace in the bottom of the ground, and you're using your spectrums, fine melt, you're using the contacts to find and trace this vein. And as you get there, you finally like dust off this one stone that was like maybe a gaseous bubble had like hit it and erupted, so you didn't see the yellow on it or whatever, but you wipe away the residue and you see the yellow. And as you turn, there's like a giant gas bubble that is directly in the way now. So you like kind of can radio in and be like, I found the thing. But Locke, you see that like this giant bubble is in the way of both of you to get to this yellow thing now. So what do? A Metroid is coming.
I think
you have that asset, which is like anything that would work against it, essentially.
so. Maybe something that I've got that has got to come into contact with it, and then makes it an inert gas. So then it can just dissipate and
so is it like a pile driver where you just like put it against the earth and then shoot it and it goes like a whatchamacallit, like an injection of a needle straight into the gases thing, and then it like pumps this stuff into it, or what?
Yeah.
Sounds cool. I like
and
this
you
episode.
see funky color changes and stuff in this gas.
Okay, cool. So I think you're in a risky position because I think this thing is like growing like a pustule, right? Like it's hitting it's doing that thing that all bubbles do when it like comes against the surface. It's sort of like, looking like it's about to burst, right?
Yeah. And this would be a skirmish?
A combat, yeah, that makes sense. And so this is the defense clock, just so you know. So there's 6 ticks that you
said this is risky?
Yeah, risky standard, because you've got equipment on par with it.
And I'm gonna spend a couple stress.
You have a move or an item that will bump you up to greater effect, so you get more ticks on the clock.
Okay. What are you referring to?
I don't know. It was just a question. Like
okay.
If you have a fine item, typically it bumps up your effect.
So what is that piece of equipment we have? Does that fit, or is that
That's what's making your position risky standard.
So that gives me
Yeah, and then you can use another item if you have an idea or whatever to get even more effect.
Okay. So if I have, say, multi-spectrum goggles to see the right location to deal with this, to get maximum effect as fast as possible.
There you go. Yes, totally. Okay. So, yeah.
So that does what? That gives me a bonus die?
It gives you great effect instead of standard effect.
Okay.
If you want a bonus die, you can push yourself.
That's what I'm going to do.
And in addition, J5 might be able to help you, perhaps, with an assist die.
Sure.
How do you help? What do we see?
How do I help? I think so. The situation here is that we're trying to get rid of this bubble,
or make it inert, so when it pops, it's nothing, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like
make it non-hazardous.
Alien shit.
Yeah. It might be messy, but it won't bother us.
Yeah.
Maybe if we can turn this bubble solid or something, J5 can has some kind of specialized tech that like an electromagnetic something or other. If we can turn it into some type of magnetic, have some kind of magnetic charge, we can push it off to the side.
Well, but how are you helping their reaction?
Maybe I'm like futzing with the controls to like make it like insert like iron or something into the mixture so that it has a iron's not magnetic.
I don't think it really
Metal.
matters.
I
So
think maybe it's just something that's going to make it heavy, so when it does burst, it just goes to the ground almost immediately.
Sure.
It turns into a fine dust or something.
sure.
Make sense?
Yeah. So take 1 stress J5, and you can add a bonus die to that.
Okay.
Oh, 6, last one. So it was J5's little iron thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Sweet. And with great effect. You're so close. Cool. So that, yeah, as you say, the bubble like pops, right? It's like inert. I think maybe like Vidi has like her hands up or whatever as this thing is about to burst, but then it's kind of like that moment where you're like, oh, I'm fine, right? Everything's good. And the extraction is completed already. And so you just need to take care of your egress out of here. And how is it that you do that? And if you fail at that, then I'm going to initiate another defense. So how is it that you get out of this place? And apparently you have all the time in the world.
We literally stroll out of it then.
Well, okay. How about something cool narratively? You start to get up, right? Like at the very least, it'll be like you need to climb out.
I think maybe what if we did we got to where our extraction point would be,
Mhm.
and then found some fissure in the rock that once it's broken, we'll get hit with this jet of gas that might give us a boost, pushing us up out.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, so
Yeah.
are you wrecking it?
Probably.
Sounds like it. Is anybody helping with this action? Is it a group action? Is everybody hitting this fissure, or
Yeah, I'm in.
yeah?
Sounds good.
So everybody's doing this. So everybody mark maybe demolition tools,
Perfect.
Okay.
like a sledgehammer or something like that, right? Like a jackhammer or something like that to hit
Mhm.
this thing. Cool. So with that marked, you'll be in a risky position, standard effect, instead of limited because of the item. And everybody is rolling it, and Locke is leading this action.
Sure.
Okay,
Sounds good.
sounds cool. Everybody roll. Let's see what happens. They're stressed out. Oh, Locke has got a 6 anyway. And
Yeah, I decided to take a couple stress and get another die just in case.
yeah. And VD, are you doing it as well? Oh, there we go. 2. Okay, so you take 2 stress. As with the entry, you're kind of leading the way with this action as well. But it is completed.
I think before we like take this course of action, like J5 has like planned this whole like this like this crazy escape where like there's an inflatable balloon that's gonna like lift us out, and so he's like unpacking this balloon, and then Locke is like, we could just blow this up.
Yeah.
Down a bit. This like unfolded thing. I start folding it back up.
Yeah, J5 is doing the like GIF where the woman is doing all the math equations, right? And then Locke is just like, hey, I'm just gonna do this right now. Just hit here. Sweet. And you're all in like your suits, and the fissure hits, right? And we get this like cool moment of you guys like getting basically spurted out of this hole. You had, I would say that it closes right behind you for cinematic purposes, but that's not very that's not trusting the fiction because we haven't had a chance to mark it. Normally the extraction clock would probably take like 3 or 4 actions instead of 2, but yeah, anyway. Cool. So that was an overwhelming success essentially. A lot of it is attributed to doing the acquire asset roll and getting with the use of jewels. So you can see how that extraction could have gone sideways without acquiring the asset, which is generally what happens to crews when they're not flush with jewels. Because then what you would have been rolling with is like desperate limited and whatnot, instead of risky standards. But I think it's pretty cool as a finale, right? We see you guys like end where you began in session 1, hitting like another cool active god up. Who takes the 3 stress to change this stuff into the extracted materials that you need for the illicit substance?
I think that's definitely me.
Okay, sounds good. And so,
unless VD is like so intensely like interested in making sure that this product comes to be that like pushes J5 out of the way and just, I got it, I'm on it.
Well, the funny thing is, if that were true, I would trauma out, which would like narratively make sense. But I mean, whatever, I'm fine with whatever.
Can it be split up?
Yeah, you can split it up.
Then maybe I take 2 and you take 1, or
it sounds good.
I don't mind taking all 3. I'm just narratively.
No,
I think it's fun.
No, likewise, I think that'd be funny if I took all 3 and like reap the consequences of my addiction. But no, we can split it up if you want
Awesome.
to do it.
Cool.
I'll take 2.
I'll take 1.
Okay, so let's quickly do the payoff from this. So, 2 rep per score by default. If the higher tier is +1, so you get 4 rep from this, because it's 2 tiers higher than you, and 2 rep default. So, do you want to add that, Aaron, to the crew sheet, or somebody, whoever wants to do?
So I can do that. We only have 3 ticks left. So does that mean we go from weak to strong, or tier 1 to tier 2?
It just means that it's full now, and then you would have to spend the money to go to tier 2 if you want, which you could do. It's 8 times the tier that you want to move to. So you'd have to spend 16, but you're about to get some flush jewels. Or what, you would go from weak to strong instead of tier 2, actually. So it would be just another 8 to go to strong. Hold.
I say we do that. Right? I mean, what happens to rep if it's not used?
Nothing. It
Right.
just stays there. But you can also develop turf, which makes it even easier. But it seems like you're pretty flush with rep anyway, right?
Right.
So okay. So yeah, just deduct 8 and move your hold to strong.
Got it.
And as for the moolah, you were negotiating for more money, I think, right?
Oh yeah.
So how about just roll another d6 and we add it on top of your 10 score? So you have a chance to get between 1 and 6 more. Is that fair? 1? That's awesome. Okay, well, hey, it's nothing to sneeze at. So you get 11 jewels. That's pretty good. Eat. Let's see. Smooth and quiet, contained, loud and chaotic, wild. I think that it was pretty low exposure. It wasn't even in shelter 1. Do you think anyone even knows about this?
Just stray light, right?
Oh, yeah, right. So we'll say 2 heat, contained, standard exposure, right?
Okay.
+1 heat if it's high profile. Nope. +1 heat if situation happened on hostile turf. Nope. You're not at war with anybody and you didn't kill anybody. So that is that. Next session, we'll do an entanglement from this. We certainly don't have enough time at the moment. Cool. Do you want to do, if you have the crew sheet open already, do you want to do crew sheet first then?
Sure. So I read out the Mark XP section.
Yeah.
Acquire product supply, execute clandestine covert sales, or secure new territory. That's a yes.
Yes.
Did we do this multiple times? Guess no.
Well, the whole episode was about it.
The single score.
Yeah. Well, about The downtime, you gathered information about it, and then you did it. So it just depends how you want to classify it.
I think it's just one. I mean, that's the thing we did.
Sure.
You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Contend with challenges above your current station. That's a yes.
Yes.
Would we get 2 for that? One going after stray light, the other.
Well, I think you would get 2 for it anyway if it's by tier, because it's 2 tiers above you.
Okay, cool. Bolster your crew's reputation or develop a new one. We went up from weak to strong. Does that count?
Yeah, well, what does the reputation points to, though?
I don't know how that works.
At the top, it should say reputation on the crew. Top right corner, daring, hard, clandestine.
Oh, yes, we were daring, right?
Yeah. Jumping into a hole is pretty hard to the core.
And
an active earthquake. Yeah, that's daring.
Yeah, that could have definitely gone sideways on y'all.
express the goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature of the crew.
I think a part of that is the Vidi, right? Vidi doing the whole, like, we gotta get the drugs, guys.
Yeah.
And you guys are like, yeah, cool.
Okay.
We'll get some drugs. Seems legit.
Awesome. All right, that's it.
Okay, cool. VD, do you want to do your character?
Yeah, sure. Unless you want to go first, Aaron, because you gotta go.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll be quick.
Oh, you need to leave it for. Oh yeah, we should be done.
I did not roll any desperate actions because we're amazing.
Yeah.
Addressed a challenge with calculation or conspiracy.
Is this was this a conspiracy against your own people? So you can use more drugs?
You have to decide, did you intentionally put us in harm's way so as to get rid of us?
Yeah, maybe they just didn't go too well because I'm like, oh yeah, I hire competent people for a reason. They're all too good at their job.
Yeah, well, you basically didn't care about them either way, right? Like if it came down to it, you were just like, as long as I get them drugs.
Yeah. Yeah, I think also like acquiring the asset and stuff and like talking to Australia, just calculating, preparing for like this score as well.
Mm-hmm.
Expressed beliefs drives heritage background. Is getting a shit ton of drugs count as a drive?
I think so. Well, I don't know. You could count it towards your trauma and vice or that, I think. Because your vice is all about them drugs. So, yeah. Either one.
Cool. I don't know if I expressed any other beliefs. She's become quite one-track minded.
Need to get high.
Because, yeah, my belief, my heritage and background is like foundation and underworld.
Right.
And mostly revolved around keeping this cool tea shop running.
But that's a drive. I think that counts as a separate thing from the acquiring drugs. I mean, maintaining the Blue Oolong as a premier tea shop in downtown Chicago.
One day I'll give up this life of crime and we'll have a legitimate tea shop.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and then I struggled with issues from vice or trauma during the session. I guess. I'll wrap up like whatever that 1 XP for.
Oh yeah, and you took stress because you didn't indulge. So.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's what it's there for. Yeah.
Ah, cool.
Okay, cool. Victor.
Okay. Every time he rolled desperate action, which we didn't seem to do, or I didn't seem to do, address the challenge with violence or intimidation. More violence than intimidation, for sure.
A bunch of violence, yeah. A fistful of violence.
Express beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. It depends. Heritage, tipper, background, military, beliefs and drives.
Do you think that you showed that during the session? I think that you kind of acted that way the whole time.
Probably, yeah, probably, especially the background, the military, kind of get the job done kind of deal.
Yeah, and especially since the egress and the descent was like, let me show you how to do this.
This
shit,
is
right?
how it should be done. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
without that, they both fail on getting down there and up. So,
And then struggled with issues from your vice or traumas. No traumas. I didn't struggle with any issues with my vice. My vice was actually pretty handy early.
yeah, yeah, it can be later on, like when you have trauma and you have to indulge it but can't and stuff like that.
When you're required, yeah.
Yeah,
That makes sense. That's
yeah.
cool.
And Aaron, finally with J5.
You addressed a challenge with technical skill or mayhem. Oh, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
You expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. I think so, going with my parents into this other district.
Totally.
And you struggled with issues from your vice or traumas during the session. I think that was when I went to get ammonium nitrate from the from some university.
Okay.
I think.
Sure. It's up to you. So.
Okay.
Cool. All right, and that's that. All right. Well, thanks for playing, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the future. I don't know about July specifically, but probably in August I'll be continuing Hack the Planet Beyond. Because I'll at least be GMing it twice, probably not 3 times, because the 3 times for the last 3 months has been interesting for me. Yeah, well, because I am also GMing other stuff as well, and then I'm participating in games. So yeah, Wednesdays and Saturdays I was playing 2 or 3 games a day. So time to calm down. Yes,
It's like a convention every weekend.
I know. Yeah. So I'm gonna calm down with that, and also use July to come up with the tracers, because I should be pretty much set with playtesting this after that. And then my idea is to like have 2 crews, one with tracers, one regular, and probably have them like at a head against each other in it. And that would be super fun with like Blade Runners tracing the other characters and shit. No, that's my jam. So look forward to that, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the future, in next month or the month after that when that happens.
Awesome. Thanks so much for the game. This has been delightful.
Yeah, it's been real fun. I'm glad we ended on kind of like somewhat of a bang, even though we missed like the other sessions, basically. So hopefully it was still a little bit satisfying and fulfilling, even though we didn't get the whole work up to the entire arc, right?
No, this was perfect.
Cool.
It was excellent. And it was so good like playing with you guys again, because I haven't played with you guys for weeks. So that was fun.
Yeah. Cool. And Victor, I hope that you had a good time with your first Blades action stuff, right? These are the only 2 sessions that you've played of Blades?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. The only 2.
Sweet. So you've done scores and downtime now.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. It's the mechanics aren't difficult to understand once you kind of give an explanation of them, but it's like your mind starts kind of going off. Okay, so if I did this and I did this and if I did that, I could leverage something out of it.
Yeah, system mastery with this game is complex.
Yeah, you can go really complex, especially once you really get like an idea for what you want your character to eventually be.
Yeah. So. Yeah, you can use downtime to really give yourself a huge advantage in the score that you're planning, and then
a lot of character shaping.
Yeah, Sweet. Okay, I'm gonna stop.